Welcome everyone to the Universal Learning Series radio show, where we discover the spiritual and scientific universe. I'm your host, Sandy Andrew. On this edition of the show, we will be discussing the topic, the poltergeist phenomenon. According to Michael Clarkson, a poltergeist is defined as a disturbance or energy with bizarre physical effects or paranormal origin that suggests mischievous or destructive intent, such as breaking or moving objects and loud knocks or noises. Reviewing 75 cases and interviewing hundreds of witnesses, paranormal experts, law enforcement officers, psychologists, and skeptics, Michael Clarkson reveals some spine-tingling results in his new book, The Poltergeist Phenomenon. Number 1. The typical poltergeist case involves a young person from a repressed home who is going through puberty. He or she may have epilepsy, which produces recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis, a state in which gravity is temporarily suspended. Number 2. A respected former Princeton University scientist believes he has proven in laboratory experiments that psychokinesis exists and that poltergeist cases are probably true. Number 3 in the list of spine-tingling results, this rare energy may be part of a person's flight or fight system, which is hardwired into everyone and can erupt in certain conditions. The new book, The Poltergeist Phenomenon, is an exciting, original look at an old subject by an award-winning investigative reporter. Please visit Michael Clarkson's website at michaelclarkson.com. Links on the main page of the Universal Learning Series website and will be on the archive show page as well. And now let's welcome Michael Clarkson to the Universal Learning Series radio show.
Hi, Sandy. How are you?
Fine. Thank you, Michael, for joining us here today. How are you?
You're welcome. Was there any typos in that thing you just read, which I wrote there, Sandy? Very nice, thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Right, Michael, reviewing your website, you've wrote some books based on fear. I found it very interesting that you wrote a book on golf, which I should buy, see if it maybe help my game out. Is the poltergeist subject, does that tie into what you write about in terms of fear energy? Is that what brought you into writing this book, the poltergeist phenomenon?
Yes, that's partly why. I had some other interest in the paranormal, but I found a lot of interesting things about fear. Many things, of course, about poltergeist we don't know about. Many things about our own fear reaction we don't know about. And I think there is at least one component in this poltergeist phenomena, this psychic tantrum. I was actually going to call the book Psychic Tantrums at one point because I think there's such a psychological and emotional component to the whole thing. And I think fear is one of them. And I think we all have this what I call fear energy, and it comes out in the fight or flight response. But we're not exactly sure how to handle it, and it manifests itself in some weird ways which we're not really sure about, but I think that's one of the components is these poltergeist agents or the people that poltergeist activity centers around. They have some anger or emotional issues which unbelievably manifest themselves in things moving. We're not sure why, but I think there's a link to our fear system.
Interesting. Okay, let's start at the top, Michael, and we'll go through this step by step because this is a big subject. It certainly does tingle the spine big time, and we'll just go through it piece by piece. What's the difference between a poltergeist and a ghost?
I don't think there are many similarities. From my experience, I call ghosts haunted houses and poltergeist haunted people. I think with a poltergeist, you've got an energy source which is revolving around someone who is not dead but alive, actually a younger person with lots of energy, and for some reason or other they are haunted. So I know there are some people who believe that poltergeists are linked to ghostly activity, but that's not what my research tells me.
Can older people get in contact with poltergeists, or however it works, or is it only just the younger generation it seems to affect?
Yes, mainly younger people often going through puberty. That seems to be another component, not in all cases, but mainly I would say from 10 or 11 years old up to early 20s. There is an ongoing case of a woman in Canada who's in her mid-40s. Now that's quite unusual, and we don't know why it's linked to age, except, as I say, for the one component of puberty.
What's the sort of things that can happen during a poltergeist event? Can you give us some examples that you write about in your book, please?
Sure. Levitation of objects is fairly common. For some reason, gravity seems to be suspended temporarily, and so you've got things like glasses, cups, and pens moving around in the air. Electrical appliances going off and on. In one case, they taped down light fixtures because the lights kept going off and on, but they kept doing it even though the lights were taped down. Things like, in very rare cases, stones falling, apparently from nowhere, and even very rarer cases, strange voices coming from the poltergeist agent. But often those are maybe a crossover to maybe haunted places, ghosts, etc. So there's some murky waters there, but I think we attribute the poltergeist mainly to things that are going bump in the day, things that are moving around, sometimes unattributed noises.
Objects moving around by themselves without any human interaction, physical interaction, that is extraordinary. Like a cup and a saucer flying around in midair. That's something out of a science fiction movie.
Yes, some people call that zero-point energy. In other words, gravity, as I said, seems to be temporarily suspended. Not for long, but I think somehow, subconsciously at least, the poltergeist agent, the young person, is making this gravity suspended. They don't know why. I don't think they even think they know they're doing it at the time. But there's lots of theories on how this zero-point energy comes about. Do you want me to go into that a little bit?
Absolutely. It's a fantastic mystery.
Sure. Again, we're going by trends. There is no solid proof that ghosts or poltergeists exist. But in a number of cases, the poltergeist agents' brains seem to be unique. In other words, there seems to be a slightly higher rate of epilepsy and schizophrenia. In 92 cases, I think, which parapsychologist William Roll, a very famous parapsychologist, he found that 4 of the 92 agents were diagnosed as epileptic. Now, that seems like a small number, but that's actually higher than the world average of 0.05% of people who have epilepsy. Now, there's another parapsychologist, Andrew Green, in London. He said some of the agents suffer from a front temporal lobe epilepsy, which is a brain disorder in which people can suffer blackouts lasting from 1 minute to half an hour. During these blackouts, an unknown power of the mind may be released, which can cause these objects to move. Now, beyond that, the agent, I believe, has some sort of energy he or she taps into to make this 0 point come about. And some of these sources of energy may be, again, not proven, but in the cases I studied, the theories are some of these sources may be electricity, geomagnetic storms, magnetic fields, or even energy from the mind-body. We all have electrical currents. We have electricity in the beat of our hearts, and electrical signals are moving along your nerve cells. You know, Sandy, when you walk across a carpet, your body can pick up these or rub off extra electrons, and this slightly charges your body's electrical potential. And so, when you touch a doorknob, buzz, you feel that buzz. So we each have an electrical charge in our body. There may be some component there in that to go along with these unusual brains, they tap into some sort of electrical supply I know in a famous case in 1984 in Columbus, Ohio, there were electrical problems following a girl called 14. She was 14 years old, Tina Reich, and the numbers on her digital clock radio were said to race without power, and there were